All right, we're back. Next is Greece and Rome. So after Neolithic Revolution and river valleys, we move on to Greece and Rome. We group them together because they're called the classical civilizations, according to New York State. We teach them as two different units, but they're really part of the same topic for the state, and that's classical civilizations. So just a reminder, you could pause this anytime you need to. We'll try to keep it moving. Here we go. Story of Greece is a story about geography. Um, Greece is covered in mountains. 80% of it's covered in mountains for the most part. And the rest of it is made up of a giant archipelago, just a huge collection of islands, literally hundreds of them. So this serves to separate all the different city states in Greece, causing cultural isolation. The cultural isolation means that there's limited contact between cultures, and they all develop vastly different cultures. And the examples we use to illustrate these differences are Athens and Sparta. So we spend the first part of the unit talking about geography and the impact of geographic features on cultural diffusion, in this case, kind of preventing cultural diffusion. And then we get into a comparison between these two, kind of like a deep dive. So for Athens, the first thing we talk about is the idea that we consider Athens the brains. Okay, they are the brains of the operation. They invent things like direct democracy, one citizen, one vote, mass education, philosophy, the big three, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, art and architecture. Art is going to be the subject, Greece is going to be the subject of art in the future. People are going to look back at this time. So they're the brains. And then you get Sparta. Sparta, known for militarism. It's an oligarchy, so it's run by an absolutist ruler. There's what appears to be gender equality, or at least something a lot closer to it than Athens. So in Sparta, all the men are constantly either at war or training for war. So that leaves the responsibility of operating society up to women. Women have a lot more rights and responsibilities in Sparta in society than women have in certainly Athens and pretty much almost anywhere else on Earth at the time. So pretty impressive stuff. So that's what we need to know about Greece. After Greece, we get into Rome. Rome also about geography. Rome is located on the Mediterranean, and it's a strategic location for them. They get to dominate trade all along the Mediterranean and all those port cities on the Italian peninsula for all the goods coming into Europe. And we know that the Mediterranean was kind of the last leg of the Silk Road, so there's plenty of trade to exploit. They get super rich and they're off and running. Eventually, they conquer the empire across the Mediterranean Sea in North Africa called Carthage. Um, Once they conquer Carthage, they're officially considered an empire. In the beginning, it's run as a republic, so there's representative democracy. So with style of government, we got to tell it in two halves. This story. So there's the republic, and then there's the empire. During the Roman Republic, it's representative democracy. So all the citizens don't vote for themselves, but the citizens vote for representatives, and those representatives vote in their place. This is similar to like large scale American politics for the most part. This is how we do it. Um, Roman Empire transitions from a democracy to we get an emperor. Okay, first being Julius Caesar, and then they use his name becomes a title, and every leader thereafter is referred to as a Caesar. This is an absolutist form of government. So it's run through the bloodline. So Caesar's in charge, his son is up next, and so on and so forth. In the beginning, there's a Caesar and kind of a Senate at the same time, but they don't really share equal power. Caesar's in charge. Rome's known for its infrastructure, so buildings and roads, especially aqueducts and things of that nature. Also, a lot of the roads that were built during the time of the ancient Roman Empire are still still operating today in some capacity. And buildings we know, I know the Colosseum is kind of crumbling before our eyes, but it's at least partially still up there. So they're famous for that stuff. The other thing we need to know about them, maybe most important of all, is this: the 12 Tables of Law um, is their law system, and it is important because it is the basis for modern Western law systems. Okay, This is probably the most popular topic that the state will ask about when it comes to Rome is their idea of government by law. They love this. So this is a thing that we absolutely must know. All right, so make a note of that. Eventually, Rome's going to collapse for a variety of reasons: poor government, invasion from Germanic tribes, mismanagement of land and food shortage, financial difficulty, inflation. I mean, the list goes on. So all of these things come together and kind of lead to the collapse of Rome. Eventually, it's going to lead to a chaotic, unstable environment in Europe. So this is, gives birth to the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, feudalism, things like that. So that's it for now. If you guys need anything, I'm here, so you can reach out by email, whatever you need. I'll see you next time. Later.